guys, it's Sam and this is my June wrap-up. So I'm getting way better about reading bigger books outside of just Tone Topple. I read 3 large books this month and a graphic novel. But these big books take me 2 weeks, at minimum 10 days to read with my current schedule, so it's a little bit disheartening, but I'm really proud of myself for reading big books like all the time. So, yay me. The first book was The Obelisk Gate by N.K. Jemisin. This is the second book in the Broken Earth trilogy. I've already done a full review on this, so I'll link that on the screen. But this was one of the nominees for the BookTube SFF Awards, which recently happened, and the winner. Because it was amazing. I love this book so much. This is built on the foundation of the first book, which is a post-apocalyptic, currently apocalyptic fantasy that has sci-fi elements in it. It just has like something for everyone. It's very like girl power riding a stallion into war with the Valkyries kind of feeling to me, and it's just amazing. It's full of complex characters. It's incredibly diverse. Every main character, I'm pretty sure for the most part, is a person of color. It's just beautiful. Focuses mostly on female characters. It's amazing. It speaks about oppression and systematic oppression and the results of that. All of these things. I can't even all wrap it up in this little blurb. But definitely go ahead and check out my review, and also check out my review for the first book if you haven't seen that and you're interested. So good. The last book in this comes out very soon, I think August, and I'm hype. I'm so hype. I feel this is a finale that will not disappoint me. Speaking of disappointment, we have Receiver of Many by Rachel Alexander. This is the first book in a Hades and Persephone retelling duology, and I've heard about this for a very long time. This was originally a Wattpad story, and then it was published into novels, and I've heard amazing things about it. People have always recommended it to me, and I always assumed, from what people were saying, because nobody said otherwise, that it was an adult romance. It's erotica. Like, it's erotica. And there's nothing wrong with erotica if people warned me. I actually even got an email when I was reading this talking about it, and even that person didn't mention it was erotica. It's just like, nobody mentions erotica. So, if you're interested in this, because I think all the elements besides the really graphic all the time sex scenes, for the most part, are good. I like the characterization of Hades and Persephone. They're the kind that I like. So I've talked about Hades and Persephone before in another video. I will link that on the screen about kind of the things that I like to see in retellings and in modern retellings and interpretations of the myth. So that's all in here. The world building is really good. The other gods in the pantheon are in here really good. All those things are really great. If I would have known beforehand, maybe the erotica wouldn't have bothered me so much, but it's so beating you over the head with it. It's all the time. And I finally started skimming the sex scenes and then started kind of enjoying the book because I was ignoring the sex scenes. Not only are there sex scenes with main characters, there are sex scenes with side characters. There's also a rape scene in here. Not with the main character, but there's a rape scene in here. And there's also graphic violence against women portrayed in various parts of the story. Yes, this is Greek mythology based. Greek mythology is very rapey and has a lot of violence against women, so it is realistic in that way, but I also feel like in an empowering story for women and in a romantic story, maybe that shouldn't be a theme that like pops up a lot. So yes, I have conflicting emotions about this because as a Hades and Persephone retelling, I think this is really good. It shows them as equals. It has them both be pretty complex characters, although I think that Persephone's a little more fleshed out than Hades, which is fine because typically speaking, Hades in these retellings is more fleshed out than she is, and I'm here for her, yo. So that's okay with me. And I really like the world building, like I said, and how the underworld is portrayed and everything like that. But the amount of sex scenes is just, it's overwhelming. But if you're into erotica, and you're okay with the little bit of violence against women theme, skimming over that part and ignoring that, you might like this. I gave this 3 stars due to the characterization of the world building, but it really brought it down because of the sheer amount of sex scenes and violence against women. I don't know when I'm going to continue this series. I think I will at some point, but this is one that you can kind of read as a standalone. So if you want to try it out and you're not sure if you want to finish it, feel free to, because I feel like it ends on a point where like, yes, there's things left unanswered, but are they pressing? Not really. I then picked up Descender Volume 2. This is the second volume in a comic book graphic novel series, and it takes place in a future world where people have populated parts of the galaxy and there's aliens and everything else, and one day planet-sized robots come and destroy things. So after that, there's a lot of distrust against AI and robots, which are really a huge part of society. So a lot of the AI and robots get wiped out, and 10 or 20 years later, I forget the exact timeline, this little BB robot AI, who was a child companion, wakes up and he just wants to find his family, and he just wants to find his little boy that he was the companion of, and it's so cute. It's not even just cute, because obviously this little character is amazingly cute. He also has a robot dog, which is adorable, but it's really about found families over and over again. There's like multiple sets of found families, and just AI discussions, which I love, like what makes someone human, what makes someone worthy of compassion, where's the line between like machine and humanity and all this stuff. I just love AI stories, and I also think the art in here is really pretty. It's like watercolor based art that I personally really like. So I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars. Really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as the first one, but I don't really even necessarily felt like it went downhill either. Like I'd really enjoy it, and this is a series I will definitely be continuing to follow. And lastly, I read Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This follows 2 perspectives. One is of Miller, who was a detective in the asteroid belt, because people have now populated Mars as well as part of the asteroid belt, and it's still just humanity kind of chilling. We haven't joined any aliens or anything at this point, but they are out in the belt, and it's kind of the belt versus Mars versus Earth. They all kind of view each other as very separate things, and so there's that kind of like political dynamic going on. But he is a part of the security system, police officer on this station out in the belt, and he gets assigned to a case of a girl that has gone missing, a young woman that has gone missing, and that leads him down a trail of lots of crap. And our other character is Holden, and he is an executive officer on an ice ship. So we have ships that transport ice from Saturn's rings to different parts of the galaxy that don't have water. So he is the executive officer, which is right below the captain, on one of these ships, and something happens with his ship stumbling over some things that end up tying him into Miller's story and investigations, and everything just goes from there. So I picked this up because everyone was talking about how great it was and that it's a really fun space opera, and I really did enjoy it. This is a really easy science fiction to get into. So if you're intimidated at all by science fiction, like I kind of have been in the past, although I'm doing really good now and reading way more sci-fi, but if you have been intimidated in the past, this is easy to get into. It's not overly scientific. It has explanations of things, it has all that space stuff, space stations and technology and stuff, but it's not overly hard sci-fi in any way. Like if you're into just like normal sci-fi TV shows, Star Wars, Star Trek, The 100, all that kind of stuff, then this is really easy to jump into. This also has a kind of like crime noir element to it with Miller and his investigation. He definitely feels like that kind of person. So that's really fun, and it's just really easy to follow. So that was cool. But at the beginning I felt a little kind of lost. I felt like there was all these, because it had that mystery element to it. I was just kind of like, what is kind of going on? And this is like, are we going to get to the point? And I do feel like the dual perspectives didn't really feel different enough for me. At times they did, but I didn't really connect to either character a whole lot. And I feel like part of the problem was that this was a very male-dominated story. There are female characters in here, one in particular who I really love, but they aren't really a focus, and they almost feel like, not as bad as I've seen other books, but they almost feel like they're just motivators for the male characters. In particular, the character that Miller is trying to track down, that female character, is very like, becomes his own kind of fantasy. It's weird, and I'm not really a fan of that. So I don't like the portrayal of women in here thus far. There are female characters in positions of power, there are female characters around. We don't really focus on them at this point. So that was kind of a little, I didn't really like that. And like I said, the 2 characters didn't feel that different, even though personality-wise they're supposed to be like really different. Like they have very different moral codes, and yet I just found that the narrative voices didn't feel that different. But as the story started to ramp up, as we started to see more of the galaxy and started to see like what exactly was going on, it got really cool and just a lot more fast-paced and just so much fun, and it just appealed to me on so many levels. Even though the story is so different from Mass Effect, it gave me the same feelings that Mass Effect gives me, which is exactly what I was looking for, like this exploration of the galaxy and like these battles and this weird shit, because weird shit's going on, and it's really fun. So I gave this one 3.5 out of 5 stars. I am going to be doing a full review on this and talking about it, and I do plan obviously to continue with the series. I think this is going to just get better from here. This laid down a foundation of weird space shit, and I'm here for it. So that is it for all the books that I read in June. Comment them below, let me know if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!